welcome to this edition of our digital magazine, Reignite. And today I'm excited that we have a guest, Dr. Caius Obeada, an immigrant from Romania and a Reasonable Faith chapter director, and he will be sharing with us his story. And so stay tuned for Dr. Caius. Hello, Dr. Obeada. How are you today?
Hello from the East Coast in New York. It's cold. Spring is not coming, and summer is far, far away from us.
Yeah. That's a bummer, Out here on the West Coast, it's just actually today it's a little bit overcast for us today, but we are but I like it like that, because our summers get pretty brutal where I live. So
I know.
yeah. So hey, tell me a little bit about your. We were talking off camera, and that you immigrated from Romania when you were how old again?
I was about 21 years and a half, I will
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
because that
yeah.
half is very important.
T- Tell me again why you came.
So my story, and I shared a story with last year with the students at the Theological Institute from Bucharest. They were asking me why was I left Romania, and that was about 40 years, almost 40 years ago. Well, 40 years ago actually. Yes, 1982 I left. Uh, I um, I am a fifth generation of evangelicals, and more
Hmm.
specifically Baptist. And my great father and my father, my grandpa, they are in the history books of Baptist in Romania. My grandpa was the pioneer of a Baptist faith on the east side of Romania in Dobroja and Constanța. And I thought that, God will call me in the pastoral work. And I talked to my pastor and I said, my wish to go to the seminary. Well, it was a little glitch on that plan because they were only in 1982, we were under the communist. There were only 10 students that they were chosen every 2 years out of the whole country. So
Wow,
10 students,
wow.
they couldn't go to the seminary.
That's the way
So,
it works, by the way, under communism, right?
yeah, well, you have to be chosen one.
Yes, yeah. I
So I was told that I'm not the chosen one because of my history, my grandpa, my father with the security regime, with the communists. They were not quite the people who the communists really liked them. So I realized that I don't have any chance to go to do my theological study. So I decided to run away.
Hmm.
And in 1982, I left the country. I went on the mountains for about 5 days with a friend of mine. We didn't have a maps. We did not have everything that we have. The compass was showing different. North was south, south was God knows what. And after 5 days on the mountains, we were looking at night. I knew know how to look on the grass, on the trees, indicating
Hmm.
north and stuff like that. And we got to the biggest river in Europe. It's a Danubium, and it's about 1 mile wide.
Yeah.
And we got to the river, and we are waiting for the guards to pass by to kind of count because they were doing rounds every 2 hours, every hour and a half. So we have to count. And we're in the bushes, ready to go in the water, and we're waiting for the soldiers to pass by. They did pass by, and the problem was that we fall asleep. Both of us, we fall asleep, and then we heard a rooster. And I said, "Oh my God, it's morning already. We blew it." But I have a watch, an old Russian watch, and I look at it. It was midnight.
Huh.
And I said, that must be God called because how many times did you hear a rooster, start singing at midnight?
Yeah.
that. And we wake up. We realized that we start
Mm.
praying and we went in the water. The only problem was when we were about to walk in the water, my friend, which was from the Black Sea and who's supposed to know how to swim, he told me I have a confession to do. I said, well, it's kind of late for confession. And well, that's important one. I said, how important? I don't know how to swim. So I said, how do we get on the other side? So he had a beach pillow, which kind of
Yeah.
funny you guys know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
like one of those. He hold the in his arm, and I
Wow.
have a rope, and I basically pull him on the other side of the river. Uh, and
Wow.
then again was there are other things that happened. We were in the middle of the river in the middle of the night. They start shooting with the military start shooting with automatic guns. The boats with the big lights that start coming towards us. The
Wow.
only problem was that there were other people behind us that they were trying to escape and they got caught. And by the time the boat got on the site, we were already on the other side, opposite in Yugoslavia. That was the border
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
country with
Yeah.
Romania.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so I run away because I want to study theology. That was my reason that I left Romania. And the first thing that I did when I ended up in Italy, I knew a little bit of Italian. I mean, I learned over there. That's not like I knew from Romania, but I learned a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I uh, I went immediately to the Italian Biblical Institute or something like that they call it. And I put my name and I started my first studies in the Old Testament. So that's my story.
you know, you told me that you met your wife in Rome. She's Italian.
Yes,
In
my wife is Italian from Rome, from the
yeah.
Baptist Church of Rome. It's a small church which is right
Mm.
closest to the Vatican.
Wow.
And
Wow.
actually, we're doing evangelism in the parks right under the wall of Vatican. That was crazy, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. So, in your home, you folks speak in. You have what? How many children?
I have four children,
Okay,
three girls and a boy,
and so you speak Romanian, Italian, and English, correct?
and Romanian.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, and at work, I do
Yeah.
understand some Spanish. So with my patients, I
Wow.
do speak some Spanish.
Well, good for you. Good for you. So, how did you get interested in the whole study of apologetics and the ministry of reasonable faith?
Well, there are two steps because I started apologetics about 22 years ago. Um what happened in 2000? In 2000, about 2,500 evangelicals in the United States
Hmm.
they turn they fade to the Eastern Orthodox Church.
Okay.
Eastern Orthodox Church is the major church in Romania.
Okay.
And a friend of mine from my own church, he left the evangelicals for the Eastern Orthodox. And we realized that we don't know much about the history of the church.
Okay.
During the
Yeah.
communists, we didn't have books. I never
Yeah.
heard a sermon about the Aquina or the Tertullian or Irenaeus. None of that. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
find myself that I have to start reading and who are these people. So the first thing, the biggest investment, I bought the 42 volumes of the church history with all. And in those days, let me tell you, 1985,
Yeah. Yeah.
86 was a lot of money.
Oh,
We
yeah.
talk
Of
about
course.
they were like 1,700 for the whole thing.
Wow.
And I bought it and I started reading. You know, I started reading, and in 2002, I was asked by my friends to help them out to explain certain things,
Hmm.
and that's where the beginning started. I talked to friends of mine from Romania, and we did the first online library. We translate the writings of the first centuries. We did a lot of translation. We had like 18 translators
Wow.
working for us.
Wow.
We did a publication of Apologetics in 2003. We started with an email of 1,000 in 2003, and in 2007, 2008, we were running about 600,000 clicks a month on the publication with
Oh,
a record of
wow.
1.2 million in 1 month alone.
Wow.
So that's how the apologetics started for me out of necessity. I didn't want it. I really didn't want to go. I didn't want to work for the Romanians. I want to be a
Mhm.
pastor, but
Yeah.
God didn't call me to be a pastor.
God has his God has his purposes and ways,
Yes.
and and uh, and it's oftentimes it's a crooked path that we follow
Mine was
to
very quick
yeah yeah
because I didn't want to be involved
yeah
with Romanians. I really refuse, and there are certain things that I'm not good at it. And I
yeah
said to God, if you will call me in the ministry, you better give me 2, 3 jobs to support it because I will never ask money. I
yeah
don't know
yeah
how to do it.
yeah
I'm not good at it. And
yeah
I said, and I ended up, working 3 jobs and supporting the ministry. I never had the
wow
support from anybody else, even today. Only for my family, my daughter, my kids.
hmm
We supporting the what we're doing in Romania. I don't know how to ask. There are people, they are professional. They know how to do it. They know how to do the letter. I do not know.
yeah
So that's one of the things that really I said to God, if you gotta call me in a ministry, make
yeah
sure that you call me in a ministry that I'm not gonna ask for something from somebody else.
yeah
I
yeah
support myself. That's why I went to the medical field. I'm supporting myself, and I will work and I will give as much as God will give me because nothing is mine. Everything is
yeah.
His.
There you go. There you go. So,
Yeah.
so, as a doctor, you're a man of science,
hmm
but and you do a lot of work to in that area. Is there any tension that you personally experience between your life of faith and your commitment to science?
Not at all. Not at
Hmm.
all. I mean, I'm telling you, every time when I'm reading a scientific article or something new, always, they show me and make my faith even stronger that there is a creator, it is something behind. Not a few days ago, actually, was somebody who made the comment that God, it's only in our imagination.
Huh.
And he was making the point, he was asking to give an argument that is out of our mind, that doesn't
Yeah.
depend on our mind. And I asked him, well, why don't you try to give me an argument that you're not going to use your mind when you talk to me? See how it works. Because no matter which argument we'll use, you
Yeah.
have to use your mind.
You have to
And
engage your
I make the
mind.
point that mathematics, logic, is not the creation, they are there. We don't know.
Hmm.
And he ended up, kind of abandoning the discussion because, and he was, it's interesting. This gentleman was a lawyer in
Hmm.
Romania.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was interesting conversation, but
Yeah.
the science, and again, you got to be careful when you use the word science
Hmm.
because people they use, let's say, no, Darwinism. The Darwinism is a theory; it's not the scientific proof
Yeah.
of anything.
Yeah.
We use and we interpret a scientific proof, which is not.
Yeah.
So when you talk to a Christian believer, a scientist, the talk it's on different understanding because it's very important
Yeah.
to understand what do you mean when you
Hmm.
say or you imply scientific evidence.
Yeah, and I think that oftentimes what people, when they say that there's no scientific evidence, is that, well, what type of evidence are you really looking for? Because God, God won't, He isn't found necessarily by He won't be, I guess, submitted to a test tube in some sort of experiment. But there's plenty of scientific evidence for God. There's logical evidence for God. There's the applicability of mathematics to the universe. This whole area of this mental discipline that we have, that it relates to the physical world out there. And when we begin to look at almost every aspect of human experience, we can see that there's some tie-in to God. Even your lawyer friend, who he says, well, don't use your mind. Well, then how do we account for the mind itself? That and rational thought, for that matter.
It's quite complicated because what happened is, if you look at the science as
Mm-hmm.
a religion, when you don't need facts, then
Yeah,
it's kind of problematic because if you talk about evolutionists, it's matter of fate. That's what you
yeah.
believe, but it's not something that you can prove.
Mm-hmm.
Now they are, in my opinion, as a man of God, uh, they are more reason to believe an existence of a supreme being. I call him God,
Sure,
Yahweh.
sure.
You may call him different, but it's reasonable to believe that there is something, someone who did everything, and that you can find them in on the scriptures, and Jesus attested to that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, so tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing in Romania, because you're not only a medical doctor, nurse practitioner, emergency room physician there in New York, but you also are a Christian apologist who was a wannabe preacher, you know. So, but and that
The
and also you're doing mission work. So tell us a little bit about what's going on there with your mission work in Romania.
so for 22 years, we're doing lots of work in Romania.
Hmm.
We started with the online library, and then we had the publication on apologetics. We run the publication for about 16 years. Then we help during the pandemic. We help the pastor. There were a lot of pastors
Yeah.
from the little churches that they didn't have any financial help. So we
Hmm.
send food. We are doing groceries. We're
Okay.
buying food, for the pastors. We send packages for Christmas for kids and such on. But as far as the apologetics, one of the kind of latest project, and it's a huge project. We I got together with some of my friends. I
Hmm.
have lots of friends that are in academics in Romania, and I suggested to found an institute of apologetics. There is no such a things in Romania. There is no school specifically dedicated to apologetics. So we found a school. This called Vaxday Institute of Apologetics,
Hmm.
and we developed an 8-month program on introductory apologetics.
Yeah.
So we are kind of, when we started, so we did all these programs, with lectures, and we have 4 modules. Each module has between 6 to 9 lectures, and they are video recording. Uh, we we didn't know how many people will enroll in this program, because a few years ago, even the term apologetic is not like in English, in the
Hmm.
sense of apologizing or something. It
Yeah.
doesn't have nothing to do in because Romania, it's more Latin,
Hmm.
so we don't have with the translation of apologetic. It is the defense of faith.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, we're wondering how many people will actually be interested. So anyway, we ended up having 80 students enrolled. There were
Wow.
many other people that they were 120 something, 30 something that they
Hmm.
enrolled, but actually 80 of them met the criteria, and they start the program in March. And they are from 10 countries around the world.
Wow.
Australia, they are Romanian speaking, all of
Sure.
them.
Sure. Sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
Germany, Spain, Austria, Poland, England, you name it.
Mm.
And we have 8 denominations, so it's not specifically for um, any type of religions,
Yeah,
any
yeah.
type of denomination. It's interdenominational.
Hmm.
So we start the program, and now we are asked, what we're doing, what's the next step? Because there are students that they are eager to say, "Oh my God, I never knew about this. I never knew this and that."
Yeah,
And now they are so eager to go to the next step. And actually, right now we are working on the advanced program,
hmm,
and I ask some help from some professor from the Biola University and other friends of ours, and then also from Romania. So now we're developing the advanced program, which probably
yeah,
is going to run for a year and a half or so. But we do a lot of work. That's
yeah,
one project. There are 3 more projects. The other project was the um, presenting to the Romanian Christians what apologetic is and who are
yeah.
the apologists of the world. And last year I did a tour, and I organized 11 conferences. And 2 of the conference, Dr. William M. Craig
Hmm.
was invited in one of them, and Dr. J.P. Moreland was on the
Oh,
other
yeah,
one.
yeah. It's great, great.
But the interesting fact was that they didn't know who they are.
Really?
So you're going,
Wow.
I mean, think about it. You're going to a
Wow.
church and you are introducing Dr. Craig, and nobody knows who it is.
Hmm.
Some people, there were few. You count in 2 hands, maybe the people who knew him,
Yeah.
and that's because the Rhythm of Faith book was translated in Romanian, but nobody's buying. It's a very expensive book,
Hmm.
uh, and it's people they're not so interested in apologetics, I guess,
Yeah.
and they do not know what apologetics and the role apologetics is also.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
so one of the tasks that I took upon is to present the apologist to the Romanian, and also
Hmm.
for the students to see how an apologist respond when he
Hmm.
talks to you, when you have an answer, I'm sorry, when you have a question to, even a tough question, what's the reaction? So I not only do I organize the conferences, but I do monthly conference with different apologists, and
Hmm.
I also start doing some podcasts, and I have some of our friends part of it, and the whole purpose is to introduce the apologetics to Romanian. The A short story about apologetics. I went to Romania, and I was introduced as an apologist, and I have a pastor, and I have some people coming to me telling me that I'm bringing a new teaching in the church,
Hmm.
that apologetics is not on the pages of the Bible. That's a heresy, and I should not even talk about it. And why do I name myself an apologist?
Huh.
So that's
They,
when you
they,
realize that they don't know what they're talking about.
they probably should read First Peter 3:15, where it says, "Always be
In
prepared to
Greek,
give
though,
an." Yeah.
maybe in
Yeah.
Greek, not in Romanian.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So, oh, that's great. Hey,
So
we're
that's another project that we do,
yeah,
trying to introduce the greatest apologist that we have in the United States, also around the world.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
so we are quite involved. We got a group of academics. We are that they are part of our organization on institute, and we are not affiliate with any of denominations.
yeah,
So yeah, it's great. It's a lot of work, but
yeah.
we're going forward.
That's wonderful. Hey, when after we end today, stay on the camera because I'd like to talk with you about some ways that we can help advance your work in Romania. So tell me this: um, what currently excites you about the ministry?
I was. It's hard to say which part excites me, because I'm so excited. I'm tired of being excited, because it's way too much work and the technology doesn't help me much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I'm working in too many projects. There are lots of. I just translate five or six of the short videos of Rismal Fate
Yeah. Yeah.
that we have. I
Hmm.
translate already, and six. I think it was six of them complete. I did
Yeah.
already. The translation. The problem with, for instance, YouTube translation of these videos, they're not quite good.
Hmm.
We Dr. Turek, I believe
Yes. Yeah.
was
Frank Turek. Yeah. Hmm.
Frank. Yes, he was invited by one of the my students to do a show, and he was talking about the soul.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I used the YouTube translation, and when Frank was talking about the soul, the translation was the soul of the feet. That was a translation. The
Something got
translation.
lost in translation.
So because of that, everything that we do, it takes. We don't do live shows for the reason that the translation is no good. It takes too much. So we do the interviews, and then we translate it. Then we are
Yeah.
posting them. But it's a lot of work on translation right now. It's too many, and also not too many people that they will spend so much time in helping us. And that's
Yeah.
with every ministry. I mean, everybody is so
Yeah. Of
busy with so
course.
many things. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's exciting to know that you have people who are so interested, and they ask you, can you give us more? Can you give us more?
Yes.
Where we can
Yes. That's
find?
good.
I
That's
don't
really
know
good.
English, but I want to more. So that's exciting. That's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. If someone wanted to support your ministry, how would they do that?
uh, I don't ask money. I don't ask
Yeah.
support. Honest.
Okay. Okay.
I do not. One of the. I do not. It's interesting because I register my Vax Day ministry is
Hmm.
registered in New York State,
Yeah.
and I never did any transition, anything. I didn't ask anything, so I don't have an account, a bank account. I don't have anything, and I don't
Okay.
do anything because
Yeah.
I don't want to be tight and I don't be responsible. I don't. I'm not good, with this thing. So when
Yeah.
somebody say, I know, for instance, people that they need help, I will contact you with the people to help out.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
personally, I do not. Like,
Well,
I'm not good.
certainly, you would take prayer support, correct?
Well, yeah, they know
Yeah.
that prayer
Yeah.
support. I need like a translators.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
more of the physical, intellectual work than any financial, let's say.
Well, we can just pray that God will raise up men and women who can come alongside of you and to continue to help your important work because
He does. He
there's
does.
a
He
whole
does. I mean, all
yeah
these years, I was never alone. I was never alone. And I
yeah
said to God, I mean, I explained to many people. I said, listen, when God calls you for a mission, is not the product of your good imagination or good
yeah
intention. I tell to the students at the Baptist Institute in Bucharest, I say, listen, I know that many of you have a lot of good ideas, probably the best,
yeah.
but doesn't count because it's not what you want to do for God, what God wants to do through you.
There you go.
Because you can have
Yeah
good ideas, but if God is not ready and nothing is ready to do what you want to do, nothing is going to happen. And I know a lot of
yeah
ministries that right now they're dying, they are not anymore. There are a lot of people with good intention that they taught, they will
hmm
do something, will have their ministry. But the whole point is that if God doesn't call you, it's not going to happen.
yeah
And there
yeah
are people that they have been attempted, to put their name on the ministry. And I said to Dr. Craig, I said, listen, do you know why I approached Charisma of Faith?
hmm
I didn't see your name as a
yeah
Dr.
yeah
William M. Craig
yeah
ministry. I
gotcha
didn't put
yeah
my name on my ministry, none of my ministry. You don't see my name. I always put Vax Day or anything else.
yeah
I don't want my name. I was always afraid that my name to be glorified more and to be more support than God than
In the
Jesus.
name of
And
Jesus.
for me, that's a
Amen.
big problem. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I said that I am so glad that you did what you did, and I am
Mm-hmm.
part of it, because Reasonable Faith, and for people who do not know, Reasonable Faith organization is totally different than any other ministry that I ever known. And I believe me, I know lots of ministries. I
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
lots of them.
Yeah.
Reasonable
Amen.
Faith, when I talked to Tyson, the global director, I said, the first thing I said to him, I don't need titles, I don't need
Mm-hmm.
support,
Mm-hmm.
and don't ask me for doing rallies and stuff like that, because I'm not good. And he
Yeah.
says, no, we're not doing that. We support you
Yeah.
in what you're doing.
There you go.
And it is great to know there is no pressure, and it's not a curriculum and agenda other than proclaiming God
Mm-hmm.
and coming and helping people in their faith, and to come to faith. That's
Yeah.
that's that's I don't know how many other ministries will do such a things,
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Really.
help others without having an
Yeah.
agenda, without
Yeah.
having anything else.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I
You
I
know,
am proud of it.
we're almost out of time. And so, what thoughts would you like to share before we conclude? Anything that bubbles up to the surface as you think about this?
Well, I was talking about the youth.
Mm-hmm.
Don't lose your faith. I
Yeah.
mean, I spent many years in studying to become a doctor, and none of them, all my teaching, everything that I learned, nothing would put aside and show me a different way other than the way of Christ. I'm
Yeah.
not ashamed to walk with Christ. I'm not ashamed to say that I believe that He is risen. I'm not ashamed to say that I do believe that He did walk on water. It's impossible
Yeah.
scientific. He did.
Yeah.
So I may be crazy. A lot of people, they thought about that and they tell me that I'm crazy. I accept. I'm not a normal guy,
Yeah.
but I believe in God, and I believe that if you want to be, a follower of Christ, you have
Mm-hmm.
to be your own. Put aside all the fancy words and fancy clothes and fancy
Mm-hmm.
look and the way you look in the church, because
Yeah.
you have to walk with God every single day. And I tell my kids that you should be the way you are in church, you should be at home, and
Yes,
the way you are
exactly.
home, you should be in church.
Yeah.
And do not be ashamed. And if God
Yeah.
calls you, some of them, they believe that they have great ideas, that they want to do this, they want to do that. When I was young, I was at the youth conference, and the speaker said that, listen, pray God that He will show you the way.
Yeah.
And one of the things he said, ask God for wisdom. Follow
Yes,
Solomon,
exactly.
initiative.
Mm-hmm.
And I did
Exactly.
read Proverbs and Ecclesiastic. I don't know
So did
how many
I. Yes,
times.
me
Do not.
too.
I was
Yes.
nauseated,
Yeah.
and everybody was asking me, "Why are you reading so much?" I said, "Because that's probably the best
Yeah.
book of the
Oh, yeah.
Bibles to read. You know, for
If
a
you're
young
seeking
one."
wisdom. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So
Mm-hmm.
that's my thought.
Great.
That's
Great.
my thought. Yes.
Hey, it's been a delight to have a chance to visit with you. I enjoy talking with you, and
Thank you.
and what I would like you to do is stay on for just a few minutes. I'm going to wrap this thing up for now, but let's go ahead and we'll have a chance to talk in just a
Sure.
couple
Thank
minutes.
you.
Okay. All right. God bless you. So, hey, let me encourage you. You know, I'm always interested in finding stories to tell, and that I would encourage you that if you're interested, or if you're a Reasonable Faith chapter director, or if you're a Christian, that you'd like to have a chance to share your story with the world, and you share your story or share the word, is that you can book your interview with me, and you just click on this link at reignite.taplink.ws. That's reignite.taplink.ws. And so, once again, thank you for coming today and dropping in and visiting with us. And I hope that we'll be able to connect sometime soon here in the future. I'm Carrie Decker. God bless you. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.